Our single arm snatch is a total body move, primarily focusing on a little bit of those quads, hamstrings, and glutes in those legs from that squat, as well as the postural muscles in our low and upper back, and then also those muscles in our shoulders as we are driving that weight on up overhead. This is one fluid movement, and this is an exercise that there's a lot of room for error on. So I do want you to start off light, slow it down, and make sure you get comfortable with it before performing it with a challenging weight. So, starting position for this, we're going to grab one dumbbell. We're going to have our feet just outside of shoulder width so that our arm can move freely with that weight in between those legs. We're going to grab that one dumbbell. I like to place the other hand right on my hips here so it reminds me to keep my core tight and my back straight. I've also seen other people place it behind on their back so that they can also cue themselves to keep the back straight, or you can just have it hanging out in front of you, out straight, out at the side, completely up to you. We're going to bend the legs in a squat as we keep our chest up. That weight is staying relaxed in between the legs as we get nice and low here. From the bottom, we're going to use the power in the legs as we extend up to help drive that weight on up, kind of like a single arm upright row. So think about that elbow coming nice and high as you come up, and then we're going to flip to where we're underneath of that weight and continue the rest of the way up. So what that looks like, sped up, coming down, driving up, and extending that weight on up above the body at the top. So leading with the elbow, flipping it, and continuing with that press up overhead. Most common mistake made on this exercise by far is turning it into kind of like a squat to upright row and then into a shoulder press. So what that looks like is squatting down, coming up to here, and then pushing it above. So this is one fluid motion. The snatch is one fluid motion. It's actually an Olympic exercise or Olympic move or Olympic lift, and it is a complex one, especially when performing with the barbell. So we like to perform these with dumbbells. It's a lot simpler, a lot less risk of injury on these ones, but it is still a great exercise. So if you get it down correctly, it's a great one to work on. Start light, start slow. So first get those fundamentals. Feet just outside of shoulder width, keeping the chest up, squatting down, using the power in the legs to drive up, elbow coming up high, flipping it, and driving right up over the top of the body, keeping the core tight. Another big thing to remember here is we're not swinging the weight out. So that weight should stay in close to the body throughout this movement. So I should squat down, come up, that weight is staying in nice and close here, and then I'm flipping it and driving it right up overhead. I'm not swinging the weight out here and then having to stop that momentum going backwards with the rotator cuff in my shoulder. I don't want to do that. That is a higher risk of injury. So try to keep the weight in close to the body throughout that entire movement. We're just flipping the grip underneath and continuing that pressing overhead. So again, sped up, this is what it's going to look like. Come down, drive it on up, straight up overhead, and then as it comes back down, straight down, close to the body. Again, by keeping it in close here, we are focusing on that movement arm staying short, so it's putting less strain on the shoulder as you're having to lower and control it down and press it up. So start with a light weight. Start with those fundamentals. You're going to want to go through this exercise quite a few times with that light weight to get used to that movement. Your legs should extend all the way at the top about the same time that dumbbell reaches the very top portion here. If you find your legs are extending first while you're still coming up here, you don't have the timing right yet. Same thing, if you find that that weight ends up overhead before your legs are extended, you don't have the timing right. So slow it down, work on making that one fluid motion, work on keeping that elbow high and snapping that wrist up underneath and finishing out that press. And then once you get very comfortable with that movement, you can start to progress up in weight and find a weight that is more challenging for you to perform those reps.